Hey folks, Turbine Guy coming back at you. Now today I want to talk to you about one word, and that word is censorship. Why, you say? Well, because I was censored before censoring was fun. And we all know everybody's getting censored left and right these days, and it's all on a political agenda. And I think mine was too. So let me explain. See, I had installed a micro wind turbine on my property in accordance with Minnesota state law, and my local community went after me, and I ended up, and my wife ended up, being sentenced to 6 months in jail each for having a useless buried chunk of concrete in our yard. Yes, it was a buried chunk of concrete. Well, while I was in jail, and they were removing the footing to get me out of jail, yes, that's right, jailed for concrete in this country. While that was going on, a local news station did a story, and I did a jailhouse interview on the phone. And eventually, Mass Report, a Facebook page, got a hold of my story, called me, and I talked to the people. They said, you know what, we're going to put you up. We stand with you in your fight for green energy and property rights. So they put me up, and that on Facebook, that post got over 1.1 million views. Well, Anonymous saw it, Anonymous reposted it, and the Anonymous one had well over 12 million views. And you can see here on the picture, it's got 11 and a half or so the last time I took a screenshot. Well, not only that, David Avocado Wolf, kind of semi-famous internet personality who puts videos together, and he put one together for me that had over 2.2 million views, 2.1 on what you can see here. So I was blowing up on Facebook. And why was I blowing up? Because the government was anti-green energy during a time and period when we had a Democrat president in Obama who was spouting green energy, and I live in a Democrat state, Minnesota, that was spouting green energy too. You know, all this was happening, nobody came to my rescue, nobody came to help. Okay? So it had to be the local community getting me out of jail and this story getting made. Well, all of a sudden, I think because of the bent of government suppressing green energy, Snopes was enlisted. Snopes, we all know Snopes online, supposed fact-checking organization. Snopes was enlisted to debunk me. And as you can see, they talk about what's true is that I was jailed for concrete, but they talk about false, that I was not thrown in jail for a windmill, and I did not spend 6 months in jail. Well, the story never said I spent 6 months in jail. It said I was sentenced to 6 months. So that supposed falsehood is false. And to say I wasn't thrown in jail for a windmill is actually accurate, because I was thrown in jail for installing a wind turbine. So Snopes couldn't even get the terminology right on one they considered to be false. And what they said I was true was jailed for concrete. Yes, I did have a buried chunk of concrete in my yard. When push came to shove and my wife had had enough, you can watch a video, it's tagged in here, I finally took the turbine down and the pole down, got them off the property as ordered, and then I chopped the top half of the footing off with a jackhammer. We chopped it up, and I sliced those anchor bolts off, so it was a buried chunk of concrete, which, by the way, in Minnesota is considered clean fill. So I just backfilled it, left it, because I noticed that, I'd put this kind of close to my house, that the 1920 foundation of my house was cracking, and it wasn't going to help it. Snopes claiming that I was jailed for concrete is correct, but they're still wrong, because I was jailed for having a useless chunk of buried concrete in my yard. Well, when this Snopes article came out, Facebook, boom, chopped me and chopped any of these stories to do with me off the internet, taking away well over 15 million views that were showing the story of green energy persecution here in the blue state of Minnesota, which is spouting green. Let's talk about Snopes for a minute. Snopes claims to be an unbiased, neutral, fact-checking website, and I found that to be far from the truth. I contacted Snopes. I tried to talk to them. They refused to talk to me so that we could correct the errors in the story. And if they want to talk about me, fine, I have no problem, but let's at least be accurate. Well, Snopes was not interested in being accurate about me and my story. And what I found when I got on the Snopes page, it's just loaded with advertisements. I mean, you can't get away from them. It's a money-making machine for these people. And as you'll see later in the interview, it's all about making money. It's not about factually presenting things. It's about jumping on topical things to get people there right away. let's talk about Snopes. Right here it says, fact-checking website Snopes on verge of collapse after founder is accused of fraud, lies, and putting prostitutes and his honeymoon on expenses. And those are facts they haven't told the readers, okay? No transparency there for Snopes, okay? And they were in such a bad shape that they had to start a GoFundMe account just to support themselves, which is odd. Seems quite odd. This is in 2017. Now zip fast forward to 2021. Snopes co-founder banned for plagiarizing dozens of stories on fact-checking site. Whoa! So you're telling me that this website that supposedly is upfront, honest, and a good fact-checking site has one of the founders who's involved in fraud, lie, and other money-making schemes to support himself off of his site, and then gets busted for plagiarism? Okay? You got to think twice about trusting anything they say. So I looked a little further into a couple more articles, and I love snoping what Snopes does. Okay, because all Snopes did for me was they went through and found a bunch of different articles and clipped what they wanted out of these articles verbatim. Doesn't sound like plagiarizing, does it? Verbatim, and then made up a story full of half-truths or third truths that wasn't true. So here's what Snopes was telling their people. This guy, who, by the way, the fraud guy, the plagiarist guy, he would instruct writers to copy from other sites, post them verbatim so that it looked like we were fast and could scoop up traffic, and then change the story in real time. Snopes' former managing editor, Brooke Binkowski, told BuzzFeed. So he's teaching these people to plagiarize stuff and to make up stories. Well, I got to tell y'all, Snopes is on the outs with me, has been for a long time since I've known how false they are and that they don't tell the truth. But I don't have the platform they have to spread the word. But also, I got to give Facebook, the company that relied on Snopes, who was relying on second-party articles. I mean, talk about hearsay. Hearsay on hearsay. In order to censor me years ago, chop me off at the neck, stop my story, and prevent the story of government persecution of green energy getting out. Well, I give Facebook a thumbs down for what they did to me. And you know what, Facebook? You can always do the right thing, and you can reinstate these stories about me, about going green, about property rights, about fighting for green energy for the people. You have that choice, Facebook. Let's see if you take it. Turbine Guy, signing off.